Hi everyone, this is me Aditya. Welcome back to our channel Aditya and Nanda Talks. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon to receive more fun and exciting videos. Today we are going to learn about Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda was born in Calcutta, now Kolkata. He was named Narendranath Datta. His father Vishwanath Datta was a successful lawyer at the High Court. Bhuneshwari Devi, his mother, was a pious woman. Young Narendranath's personality and thoughts was strongly influenced by his father's rational mind and his mother's religious nature. As a child, Narendranath had a keen sense of reasoning. He never accepted anything without evidence. Once he and his friends were playing near a tree when they were warned by the landlord. A demon which swallows children lives in this tree. Go play somewhere else. Frightened, all the children ran away, but for Narendranath. He sat on the tree's branch waiting for the demon. Hours went by, but the demon didn't come. It was a spoof to scare us, Narendranath concluded. Young Narendranath began his education at home. Later, he was admitted to the Metropolitan Institution of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. He was a bright student with an exceptional memory. Narendranath showed great interest in religious texts. He was well versed in classical music and also excelled in sports. Narendranath's father was often visited by his clients in their house. After some refreshments, they were offered hookahs to smoke. Narendranath noticed that different hookahs were kept for people belonging to different castes. He often thought, what will happen if I smoked a hookah meant for some caste other than mine? One day, Narendra did smoke all the hookahs. When nothing happened, he concluded that the difference in caste was meaningless. Narendranath, from his very childhood, had a spiritual bent of mind and practiced meditation. He often saw a light while falling asleep and a vision of Buddha while meditating. When Narendranath graduated, he had acquired vast knowledge on different subjects. His professors called him a prodigy. He always admired the rational thinking of the West and was shocked by the cultural decline of the Indian society. As Narendranath grew up, he was drawn towards Brahmo Samaj, which at that time was a modern Hindu movement that tried to revive Indian society in a rational manner. They believed in a formless God and opposed in idol worship. Narendranath often met the leaders of Brahmo Samaj and questioned them about existence of God, but his query was not answered satisfactorily. At the age of 18, Narendranath felt an overwhelming desire to see God. One day, while attending a literature class in college, Narendranath heard about the great mystic Sri Ramakrishna from Professor Hasty. Out of curiosity, some students, including Narendranath, went to Dakshineshwar to meet Sri Ramakrishna. When Narendranath went when Narendranath met Sri Ramakrishna, he asked, Sir, have you seen God? Yes, certainly, replied Sri Ramakrishna. I see him just as I see you here. The meeting left a deep impression in Narendranath's mind. Narayana started visiting Sri Ramakrishna frequently. Initially, he revolted against some of Sri Ramakrishna's ideas, but was strangely attracted to his personality. As a member of the Brahmo Samaj, Narendranath objected to Sri Ramakrishna's worship of goddess Kali. But Sri Ramakrishna bore with all his arguments and told him patiently, try to see the truth from all angles. In the next 5 years, Narendranath remained under Sri Ramakrishna's training. He was transformed from a restless, impatient youth to a mature man who gave up everything to realize God. In 1885, Sri Ramakrishna was diagnosed with throat cancer. He was moved to Calcutta and later to Ghazipur. All this time, Narendranath and the other disciples took care of him. During his last days, Sri Ramakrishna gave Narendranath and a few other disciples saffron color monastic robes and, and formed the first monastic order of Ramakrishna. He asked all his disciples to look upon Narendranath as their leader. Service to men is the best way to worship God. He taught them. Sri Ramakrishna's condition worsened and he passed away after some time. After Sri Ramakrishna's death, his disciples started living in a ruined house at Barananagar, where eventually they took monastic vows. From that time, Narendranath began calling himself Swami Vivekananda. With financial assistance, this became the first mutt of the Ramakrishna order. After some time, Vivekananda left the monastery and became a wandering monk. Swami Vivekananda traveled throughout India for 5 years, beginning from Varanasi. He learned about diverse religions during his journey and saw the suffering and poverty of the common man. During his travels, he lived mainly on alms and traveled mostly on foot. He was the first religious leader in India who said that the real cause of India's downfall was because the common people always suffered neglect. Vivekananda concluded that due to centuries of distress, the common people had lost faith in themselves. So it was necessary that they recognize their ability to bring change in their lives. Swami Vivekananda knew that spreading education would awaken the ignorant people. Meanwhile, Swami Vivekananda continued to travel and reach Kathiawad in western India. In Kathiawad, Swami Vivekananda heard about the world's Parliament of Religions to be held in Chicago. His friends and admirers urged him to attend this parliament. I will give it a thought, he told them. Vivekananda continued his travels and reached Kanyakumari, where he meditated on the last bit of Indian rock, now known as the Vivekananda Rock Memorial. While meditating, he had a vision of strong, united, and independent India. From Kanyakumari, Vivekananda traveled to Madurai and met Raja of Ramnad Bhaskara Sathupati, who looked like his disciples, urged him to go to Chicago. Meanwhile, Vivekananda's disciples had started collecting funds for his journey to Chicago. The Rajas of Mysore, Ramnad, and few other places also provided financial aid. At last, in the month of May in 1893, Swami Vivekananda left for Chicago from Bombay. Swami Vivekananda arrived in Chicago in July and found that the conference was to be held in September. Apart from the difficulties of surviving till September, he also had difficulty in registering himself as a delegate of the parliament. During this time, he met Professor John Henry Wright of Harvard University, who greatly impressed by Swami Vivekananda's learning, helped him to obtain permission to participate in the parliament. The Parliament of Religions began in September at the Art Institute of Chicago. On the opening day, Vivekananda was the last speaker. Nervously, he began his speech saying, "Sisters and brothers of America," His address was greeted with a thunderous applause, which lasted for 2 minutes, along with a standing ovation. When silence was restored, he began his speech. Vivekananda spoke about the harmony of all religions of the world. It was the universal message of openness in his speech which captivated his listeners. He greeted the audience on behalf of India, a country with the most ancient order of monks in the world, the Vedic sannyasins, and a religion which teaches tolerance and universal acceptance. Though Vivekananda's speech was short, he took the audience by storm. He was instantly famous. The press called him the cyclonic monk from India. Vivekananda was regarded as an orator of divine right. He spoke several times at the parliament on Hinduism and Buddhism, stressing on universality and religious tolerance. After the Parliament of Regents, Swami Vivekananda spent nearly 2 years lecturing in various parts of the United States, England, and some other European countries. He attracted many followers wherever he went. In England, he met Miss Margaret Noble, who became his disciple and was later known as Sister Nivedita. However, Vivekananda was constantly in touch with his brother monks in India, inspiring them and sending them money. When Vivekananda returned to India, he received a magnificent welcome. On his way to Madras, the train had boarded was the train he had boarded was stopped at several places so that people could hear him speak. In his lectures, Vivekananda spoke highly of India's culture and religious traditions. From Madras, his inspiring lectures continued up to Almora. His speeches had tremendous impact on the Indian freedom fighters too. On 1st May 1897, Vivekananda founded the Ramakrishna Mutt at Calcutta to propagate religion at Ramakrishna Mission. To do so social service, the only motive of founding these organizations was to uplift the Indian society. Later, he founded monasteries at Belur and at Mayavati near Almora. 2 years later, amidst declining health, Swami Vivekananda visited the West again, accompanied by Sister Nivedita. In San Francisco, New York, and California, Vivekananda founded several institutions to teach Hinduism. Later, he attended the Congress of Religions in Paris. Due to his hectic schedule, his health began to decline further. During his last days, Vivekananda stayed at Belur Math and continued his missionary work. On 4th July 1902, Swami Vivekananda passed away while meditating. He was 39 years old at that time. Swami Vivekananda was a man of enormous mental strength and determination. He is considered to have inspired India's freedom struggle movement and also considered as the maker of modern India. His philosophy can perhaps be best summarized in one of his quotes: "Arise, awake, and stop, not till the goal is reached." Thank you everyone. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Bye bye.